Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the printmaking and typography within Illustrator. This is probably my favorite because you've got the most freedom to actually move your text about the page, and then you can basically drop in various backgrounds and stuff to meet your needs, and also quite easily edit backgrounds and stuff to combine it. When you start using it, hopefully you'll realise actually the strong benefits for using Illustrator over Photoshop for something like this. But please do experiment with all the different methods, just so you kind of get a good kind of idea about how basically it all works. So, first thing, as you can see here, is what we're going to create. So, I'm just going to create a mini document, file and new. As we do, change the size to A3. Now with this, you've got no pixels because it's a vector-based piece of software. You don't need to worry too much about that, but just understand that there's no actual pixels with this. You don't need to worry. So change the size to A3, landscape, click OK. So you've got your page. I suppose firstly, get your type tool, click, and type what you want. Again, I'm just going to use the word design. Nice and simple. I'm just going to click on my move tool and I want to make it a little bit bigger just so we can see. Now please do change the font, don't stick to Miro Pro. Go to character, click on the drop down, and again you can see all my fonts. I'm going to go for something like go to high voltage rough. That'll do. That'll do. It'll be quite an interesting outcome this. Right. So what we now need to do is create outlines so we can start moving the text around. I suppose the best way to describe this is, at the moment this is text, so you literally can just type, pretty much about it. You can type on certain things and whatever, but you can just type. What we now need to do is, once we've typed our work out, we now need to turn it into a shape or a vector to actually start moving it around. So as simple as type, create outlines, then object, and ungroup. And it now means that each letter is basically a separate letter. Imagine it as a shape. You can't change the font or anything, but you can now change the size, you can change the position, you can change the shape and all that kind of stuff. You just can't type or change the font because it's no longer an editable text, if you know what I mean. So, clicking type, clicking letter, sorry, and you start moving it around. Remember to press shift to maintain all the proportion and everything. And you can basically start moving this and actually laying it out as you'd want it. And hopefully you can see straight away why this is a bit easier rather than faffing around with layers and marquee tools and stuff. Right, that's pretty much it. That's all I need to do. Next thing, if you bring up your background in Photoshop, so I'm going to use this yellow background in Photoshop. So I've got it there. If I needed to, I could tweak it with the colours and stuff, which I might just do. To go to image, adjustments, go to levels. I could just tweak it if I needed to. Make it darker, make it a bit lighter. Okay. But what I think I'm really going to do with this is actually change the entire colour of it. So if I go to, let's try colour balance, and then I'll make it more green. Right, that'll do for me, for what I want to do. So file, save as. What we're going to do is save this to Photoshop file, so then we can move it into Illustrator. But there's actually a few little benefits to doing Illustrator Photoshop file, so you'll see in a minute. So I'm just going to click on Format, change to Photoshop, and I'm just going to change the name of this to Image Mask. Oh no, Clipping Mask even. Clipping Mask Background. Just so I know where it is. Okay. I'm going to keep that open for a minute because I want to demonstrate something to you. Right. Go back to Illustrator, and this is a different thing. What you could, if you wanted to, you could just find your image and drag it in. What I want you to get a habit is when you're combining Photoshop and Illustrator together, kind of get into this routine. Go File, and then Place. And you'll see why we do this in a minute. So you click on that, which is what we want to do, the clip mask background, and just click Place. Okay, we can see it there. Now, what I want to do is just see where this lies underneath my text. So just go to Object, Arrange, and then Center Back, and then you can see where my text would be. Okay. But just to demonstrate what Photoshop can do at this point, if I go back to Photoshop, remember I've still got this open. If I go to Image Adjustments and I don't know, let's put a photo filter on it, and I'm going to put a magenta photo filter, and it's suddenly changing it pink. Okay. This is the important bit. As soon as I go File and Save, it's obviously going to save my document, but because I've linked it, because I've placed it into Illustrator, it's saying straight away that something's obviously changed. So you just click Update and it will change the background for you. So that's a really nice way to actually be able to keep your work up to date and change it quite easily. And yeah. So next thing I want to do is I need to highlight all my text again. So just draw a box around a text. You will probably select your background image. So just press Shift and click and you'll deselect the background. This next bit's really important. We need to make this as a group so we can actually start, so we can actually apply our layer mask. So just go to Object, Compound Path, and Make, and that makes it an actual group, makes it a compound image. Okay. What we're then going to do is highlight both our grouped text and our background, and then simply Object, Clip and Mask, Make. Just click Yes. And there you go. You can see that your image is now gone within that text. Another way, highlight it and just right click, make clip and mask. It's there as well. And I say, there you can see how you can actually manipulate your image to go behind your text. But this is the great thing. If I just zoom in, there's no pixels. It's not pixelated around the edges. The image is obviously pixelated because the image is Photoshop, but the actual shape it was within is a vector, so there's no pixels there. So as long as my image was really good resolution, I could make this as big as I wanted, and there'd be no pixelization around that curve. Okay, so if I just undo this, right, so at the moment I've got my text there. What I'm going to actually do is make this background image appear in only in some of the text. So I'm just going to select all letters apart from the big D. So click letter, just shift and click all the others. I'm going to do the same thing again. I've got Object, Compound Path, I'm going to make it, and then going to select the background as well, and then right click and make clip and mask. Yes. So you can see there it's only gone behind those letters, and then what I can do is place another background into here. I'm going to let's just use the original for this. I'm going to move it over, I'm going to place it, move it to the back, and then I'm going to select the letter D and select the background, right click, make a mask. So I've actually got two techniques there, two different colours. And yeah, it means you can then start building up your image to basically involving a different image within each letter. Just be mindful that the more images you put in, the slower your work will possibly get, because you're basically putting in loads and loads of pictures. So be quite selective on how you actually do that. If it's just like one image like I've done here, one like layout, then absolutely fine. But when you start producing full-on layouts like this, I wouldn't go over the top with putting too many pictures in, just because you'll end up struggling a little bit with the processing power of the computers. So, because you can see actually, if I double click on there, that full image is still there. So yeah, the more you get in, the slower it could start possibly being. So again, experiment with that and get a few of those into your slides, and yeah, excellent.